If you've never had tri-tip, that just means you're not from California. It really is a West Coast slice of meat. It originated in the 50s, the Santa Maria area, central coast of California. It's not widely available across the nation. So it's named for the 3 points. It's kind of triangular in shape, but also the grain of the meat runs in 3 different directions. You have to take account of that when you do cut it. It's relatively low in fat compared to other cuts like a ribeye or a brisket, but when it is cooked correctly, it's still juicy. It's absolutely perfect to slice a bit thinner and make sandwiches, which is what my plan is for this piece. It's fantastic to grill. It's good for smoking. My favorite thing is to roast beef. And I have a really cool method for doing that. I left this in a salt brine for a good 12 hours. You can leave it up to 24, that's fine, I didn't have the time. The brine ratio is simply 1 cup of water to 1 tablespoon of table salt. And then just however much it takes to cover your meat, then that's how much salt that you put in. It looks a lot like a steak, but it is so much bigger. It needs flavor to penetrate down into it. You know what I mean? And the end result's absolutely fantastic. So you can see how the grain runs there, and then it shifts entirely. So I always buy the cheaper cut with the fat cap on, which, yay, I know is not attractive, but it's only to cook with so that as it renders, it drips fat onto the leaner piece of meat underneath. Perfection. So because I brined it, I'm going to give it a rinse off, otherwise the outer crust will be a little offensively salty. So I will take one of my very sharp knives, this is my boning knife, and I'm going to score the fat, let it further render. Like I said, before I actually sandwich slice this thing, I'm going to take all that fat cap off. But until then, just right on through it. Flip it back to its other side. What you want to do is give it a really good season. I always go in with a big old shot of black pepper. It's kind of my signature, actually. Onion powder. For me, these are the staples. The things that really give good savory flavor. Garlic powder. Of course. And just a little sprinkle of beef bouillon. Just a little. We're just making it zhuzhy. I'll just rub that into that grain and the meat as well as I can. It doesn't have to be complicated. Simplicity is often delicious. And now, because of its little funky shape, I like to try and help it bake a little more easily, so I twine it up. So what I'll do is I will curl this puppy around so the edges kind of close up on themselves. It's a ball of meat. Go around, and not only once through, second time through, so when you pull tight, the cinch stays. Then one more time through to knot it. That's all that's needed. So we've got our kitchen scale. We're gonna pop on our paper plate. means get it back to 0. Take your meat, set it on the paper plate. This weighs 4 pounds, 1.5 ounces. Oh. And then you times that by 5 to get how many minutes. Okay, so I will cook this at 500 degrees for 20.5 minutes. In fact, I'll just cut off the half. That'll be fine. The way that this method works is you cook the meat for the amount of time that we calculated. For me, this is going to be 20 minutes at 500. But I do not open that oven door. I just turn off the heat. I am going to probe my meat, so I have a thermometer in it. And when it gets to 117, I will pull it out because it will continue to finish cooking and get up to that beautiful 130 warm red center, perfect medium rare that I'm actually after. So the trick again was we have our dry prong. I'm going to figure that right about here is middle because these are the small ends wrapped up. I'm going to go to right where that little burn mark is on mine anyway. So dead center, not of the fat cap, but of the actual meat. All right, I think I have my probe where I'm happy. And now you really want to preheat your oven to 500. Your oven needs to be good and hot before it's ready for any meat. Cook it for the amount of time calculated, then kill the heat, and do not open the oven door. From here, we rely on our thermometer. I set mine to alert me at 115, but I won't pull it till 120. It will rise even higher while it rests. And finally, at 125, I begin to carve the fat cap. Removing it all thoroughly will allow you a better look at the grain. This will make carving it easier. And a taste test. My God. I want my meat to look like it belongs in my mouth, so I'm thorough, and I remove all bits of fat, any leftover sinew, all has to go. And then I clean my workstation before actually going in for the slicing. Now that I'm ready, I get my electric carving knife and I find the center where the meat's grain turns and divide the meat into 2 pieces. And then I will take the section that I'm going to work on, turn it where I'm slicing thinly against the grain. This is really pivotal for tenderness. However, the salt brine from earlier did a lot to make this meat soft and delectable, absolutely juicy and delicious. If there's one thing I know my way around, it's a cut of meat. This tri-tip came out absolutely succulent, flavorful, and delicious. I enjoyed it so much. So did my family. I know yours will too. And to accompany this sexy, delectable tri-tip, I made French rolls. I'm going to be posting a video on them and then uploading both videos to my YouTube, which is my video cookbook for my children. But if you want to quick reference it, the link is in my bio. If you made it this far, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for watching, and bon appetit.